Artificial intelligence. It started out as a buzzword people dropped into conversations, speaking in hushed tones about its revolutionary capabilities, and also how Skynet would be one step closer to reality. But today, it's no longer just whispers and rumors. AI is not the future anymore. It is now. As AI becomes ever more omnipresent, finding itself embedded in industries from healthcare to gaming, an increasing number of people are asking themselves two questions. Is AI going to replace me? And what will I do now? These are valid questions. Big, scary questions. But I'd like to offer you a different perspective. What if you embraced AI? What if you evolved with it? Because those very same questions have been asked before, during the advent of the web and the computer before it. But were we replaced by these things? I think everyone present here today is evidence of the contrary. Because as revolutionary as those technologies were, we came to realize that they were just tools. And so is AI. A powerful one, but still just a tool. And like any tool, its impact depends on how we choose to use it. My journey with AI began back in 2017 as a second-year engineering student. Now, back then, I told myself that I wanted to learn about this technology because it was novel and interesting. Truth is, I was afraid. I was afraid that the future of the software industry would belong only to the AI developers. I was afraid that regular software work would be deprioritized and automated away. I was afraid that my peers, my colleagues at my school and beyond would somehow get ahead of me, leaving my career prospects in the dust. So really, I had two options. Ignore my fears and hope for the best, or face them head on and embrace what I did not yet understand. I chose the latter, and that decision not only shaped my career and my future, but taught me an important lesson that I'd like to share with all of you here today. That the people who need to worry about AI aren't the ones who are actively learning to use it, but the ones who are too afraid to embrace it. My first exposure to AI began back during an internship with PerkinElmer, a biotech company. I worked on classification models using basic multivariate equations. It was foundational work, but also incredibly impactful. PerkinElmer, after all, is the company that made the primary mirror on the revolutionary Hubble telescope. So even my small changes felt incredibly impactful. From there, I went on to intern at Electronic Arts, working on a deep reinforcement learning project for FIFA. Our goal was to have the game's CPU-controlled AI mimic human behavior, from how it dribbled the ball to how it passed and played the game. Now, this was before advanced tools like ChatGPT existed, so I had to write out linear algebra equations by hand and translate reams of math into code to build up my own models. It was challenging, focused work, but it taught me a lot about how advanced models learn and adapt. And this experience was critical when I later ventured into the medtech space, collaborating with a surgeon in Montreal. We built a model for use during laparoscopic cholecystectomy procedures. It's a surgery to remove the gallbladder. And from the angle the surgeon sees during the procedure, the gallbladder is located centrally, with the liver behind and the common bile duct close by. Normally, doctors are able to tell these things apart relatively easily. But when the gallbladder is inflamed, the borders don't quite look so clean, presenting a challenge in the operating room. So the goal of our model was to define a surgical go, no-go zone for surgeons to stay within. We also paired this with a training tool for use by med students. It would help identify tools, organs, and procedural steps for that very same surgery in near real time. Now, to me, this work provided a whole new definition to the concept of the real-world impact of AI. It was incredibly exciting. But somewhere along the lines, while I was studying the different shades of pink that form the inside of the human body, I stumbled across an important realization that AI may not be as capable as we often perceive it to be. Let's discuss an example. During the early days of COVID, as doctors and medical centers became increasingly overwhelmed, researchers rushed to develop AI models that could study chest x-rays and identify a set of patient lungs that were impacted by COVID. Now, during training, the models performed flawlessly. They were perfect. But when exposed to fresh, new patient images, their accuracy plummeted. So the question is why? Well, it turns out that in the training data set of images used to build the model up, the X-rays of COVID lungs were denoted with a small dot in the corner. It's a simple marker added for organization. But the model, instead of focusing on the rest of the X-ray, decided to focus on just this dot. So anything that had a dot in that vague position that it had learned was labeled as infected. Most other markers on the image were ignored. It's pretty funny, but it highlights the model missed the bigger picture. I saw something similar during my time at FIFA. We trained the system using positive and negative reinforcement, such that if the algorithm scored a goal, it was positively rewarded. And if it failed to do so, it was penalized. Now, while the ball was in play and within the four corners of the pitch, no score was assigned to the system. And that's what it decided to focus on. You see, it figured out that if it was able to kick the ball such that it landed and stayed on top of the net, it would still be considered in play by the game, but no player, including the goalkeeper, would be able to touch it. So the game was effectively neutralized. It's ingenious, but again, the algorithm missed the bigger picture. These examples highlight an important truth, that AI, it doesn't think like we do. And it doesn't replace human judgment. But when used appropriately, it can be an incredible partner, one that amplifies our abilities and helps us achieve more. Take my work today as an example. As a software engineer, writing tests is one of the most tedious parts of my job. Now, I certainly recognize their value, but I often find the process arduous and time-consuming to complete. But today, that's where tools like Copilot come in. They help me automate away much of this work. It's not perfect by any means, but it does make me 30% faster. So suddenly, I can spend less time working on boring, repetitive tasks and more time on the creative, strategic aspects of my job that I find truly fulfilling. AI hasn't replaced me, It's made me better. So the question we should be asking ourselves isn't, is AI going to replace me? But rather, what can I do with AI today that I could not do yesterday? That's the question that opens doors, sparks ideas, and creates opportunities. Think back to the gallbladder procedure we discussed just a few minutes ago. If sufficient confidence was gained, doctors could suddenly spend less time worrying about surgical complications and more time perfecting their craft and caring for their patients. On FIFA, AI helped to uncover a bug that nobody had yet else seen. And it allowed us to create a fix and release it before any customer was negatively impacted. It was incredibly helpful. Or let's consider a more concrete example with the commercial aviation space. Almost 90% of most airplane journeys we fly on today are done by autopilot, sometimes even down to the landing. Those transatlantic journeys that we all take for granted simply would not be possible without this level of automation. And finally, let's consider a bigger, more abstract topic with robotaxis. Once unimaginable just a decade ago, but now poised to revolutionize transportation. The possibilities are endless, but it all starts with a choice. The choice to embrace AI, evolve with it, so you can unlock not only its potential, but yours as well. Take it step by step. Identify the areas in your life where this technology is already making an impact. Ask yourself, what can AI do today that it could not do yesterday? Experiment with AI tools and applications. Don't be afraid to try them out. Small steps can lead to big breakthroughs. And finally, think big. What are some of the things that you've always wanted to pursue but felt were out of reach? What bold ideas can you bring to life with the power of AI? This is your chance to innovate, create, and lead. AI is powerful, and it is our technological future. But if we embrace it and evolve with it, we can turn this moment of uncertainty into a moment of opportunity. To put it simply, AI isn't here to take your place. It's here to take you places. So then the question is, are you ready to reimagine what's possible? Thank you.